Hey, welcome to another Juneau Freewheelers event. This is the North Douglas time trial. Time trial gear allowed for this one. So it's a real time trial in an Aero time trial position. I am riding today my 2012 Kestrel Talon road bike, modified a bit with some clip-on Aero bars from Profile Design. A Wheelbuilder rear wheel disc cover. And on my front, I have a Head Jet 6 Plus carbon wheel. It's a hybrid sort of. It's a rim braking aluminum wheel with a carbon dish on it, 60 millimeters. Lets me go 40 miles an hour right here, which is super fun. I love speed. That's why I love being in this Aero position. It lets me go faster, longer, which is great. It's just an absolutely gorgeous day. We were sharing the road with runners participating in a half-marathon event, which was awesome. Always admire people who can run and enjoy running. Even if they don't enjoy it in the moment, they enjoy the feeling of it, because I haven't gotten to that place yet. I enjoy cycling, but I really admire people who can run that long. I just, every time, super impressed. And like I said, just a beautiful day out today. We've got the Mendenhall Glacier off in the distance there on the left. Fireweeds blooming, blue skies, mountains. It's incredible. For that reason, I'm not going to fast forward through any of this 10-mile course. If you've ever longed for a sunny day in Juneau, if you get to December and it's gray and rainy and cold and want to remind yourself what it can look like here in Southeast Alaska, just bookmark this video and come back, because that's what I'm going to do. So like I said, a time trial on time trial gear. Trying to do a little bit better with pacing myself than I did with the donut time trial, and I felt pretty good about this one. I don't know if you noticed, my power numbers at the very beginning were a little bit crazy. I think my power meter was doing something interesting, but settles into a more accurate representation of my power right now. I think I averaged something like 270 somewhere in there on the way out, and 260 on the way back, with a little bit of more hills on the way back. And I still haven't accomplished the negative splits that I shoot for, but I just feel like I did better this time. Still working on my time trialing skills. And being on Aero bars in the Aero position, my hands make a cameo at the top of the frame. Every time you see my fingers flex out a little bit, that's me reminding myself to relax. I feel pretty comfortable in my Aero position, but I do tend to tense up, and I have to shake that every once in a while. I catch myself. There's the glacier again, clear view of it over on your left. Coming up on the North Douglas boat launch. So this course starts at the top of Picnic Cove out there at Full Souder Point. Pretty good descent, touching 41 miles an hour at the bottom. Goes towards Eagle Crest, Fish Creek Road up Eagle Crest, goes past that, a little turnaround, and then back. It's almost exactly 10 miles. These roads are down the road from my house, so I get a chance to ride them frequently. I believe I still hold local legend status on Strava, for some of this at least. Which is good. I being familiar with the course, I know the hills. I was able, just thinking about this ride, I was able to visualize where I was going to, push hard, where I could push a little bit less hard and still maintain a bunch of speed. And so it's just one less thing to think about as we're going along here. There's another relaxing moment. You don't need to grip for dear life. No animals today. As mentioned, I've ridden this a lot. At various times I have dodged, no kidding, I've dodged frogs crossing the road en masse, woolly bear caterpillars, porcupines, marmots, a deer here and there, I haven't come across a bear out here, which I'm okay with. But nothing today. A lot of traffic on the road, so no. It's not surprising. Here's a little downhill, pick up some speed. We're going to cross Fish Creek over a bridge up here. And there's a little kicker on the other side. So, funny thing, I mentioned I'm riding a 2012 Kestrel Talon. It's a carbon road bike, Aero. And just so happens that another rider in today's lineup was also on a Kestrel Talon. And that rider is right here. It's a good moment to be like, hey, nice bike, nice bike. You don't see too many Kestrels around, and especially in a town as small as Juneau. It's fun to see another one. Have I mentioned I like going fast? I love being in an aero position, being able to maintain speed like this makes such a difference. Having ridden this, speaking of speed and going fast, there's Will. I know better than to try to keep up with them. Someday Will. But having ridden this enough on a road bike, trying to maintain as aero of a position as I can without aero bars, it's amazing, always amazing to me, the difference between the amount of power, I can generate and put out and speed, being able to, it's no wonder people you know, go to great lengths to hide cables, wear Aero socks, shave their legs, trying to pick up any bit of Aero advantage that you can, because it makes a huge difference. It lets your power convert into speed more easily. And it's really cool to be able to see the difference. I mean, it's almost immediate. It satisfies the immediate gratification desire in all of us, right? Closing in on the turnaround point. We have a downhill here, a slight up as we cross Fish Creek Road, and then we'll make a U-turn. Had a very, very light tailwind on this part of the course, and a slight, obviously turned into a slight headwind on the way back, 1 or 2 miles an hour. Nothing super significant, but it was there. There's Fish Creek Road. You can see Will making the turn right there, and then the rider in front of me, Dave, and myself, of course, just our luck. 3 cars. The one in the front was slowing to turn, so couldn't even just let them go by quickly. So here I tried to make up a little bit of that near stop. Try to get back up to speed as quickly as possible. And like I said, I'm on a modified road bike. I don't have Aero handlebars quite yet. Still have drop bars with the shift levers on them, so I'm having to. It was a good, good encouragement to try to stay in whatever gear I was in, so that I didn't have to break the Aero position and reach over and shift gears. Obviously, had to do that in some cases, like just there, but I tried to power through as much as I can, which, having watched many YouTube videos on how to time trial, trying to improve my skills in that area, is something you want to do anyways. You want to try to power through shorter climbs if you can, because every shift of the gear you lose that tiny bit of power. Every once in a while you see the water line access, small holes in the road surrounded by the cutout square painted in blue. I just hit one of those. I've ridden this course so many times. Those things still surprise me. I know generally where they all are, but I'll take my eye off the road for a second, and all of a sudden I'm worrying about my wheels as they crunch down into one of those. I think there's another one coming up here. That's why I'm trying to stay off the shoulder, stay in the road as much as I can. Again, using my Garmin Varia rear view tail light that has the radar built in, so I know when a car is approaching me and I should move over to the right. You can hear the beeps every once in a while. We're approaching that kicker that was on the other side of the Fish Creek Bridge. have the pleasure of descending that kicker this time, which is nice. And then a more gentle slope on the other side. So I only really started riding very frequently during the pandemic. The upside of no travel and staying at home, and other things being off limits. The silver lining is I got outside and got on my bike and rediscovered my love of cycling. And this being, my kind of go-to course, it's so nice to be able to mark improvements against past rides, and this being one of them. This hill right here, this is the way I would normally ride away from my home, and then hit the end of the road, North Douglas Highway, turn around and come back. This gentle sloping climb early last year, early 2020, I would have to stop by this mailbox and take a break and wonder how I was ever going to make it over the top of this hill. And now, I'm carrying 20 miles an hour up and over, and it makes me feel good about how far I've come from those early days of nearly dying on the side of the road on my bike trying to pedal up a hill, and being able to do it with speed and a fair bit of confidence now. Doesn't mean it's easier. What's the saying? It doesn't get easier, you just get faster. That is incredibly true. Legs still burn. See, my heart rate's still up. I just happen to be going faster now. And like I said, I normally ride this going this direction first. And this is one of my favorite parts when I do this ride. It's one of my favorite parts. Around this corner, and you have a slight downhill back towards the North Douglas boat launch, and the view that opens up between the trees here makes me, every single time, this is why I live here, even when it's dark and stormy out. And this is why I love cycling. Get this descent and a view of water and mountains in the distance. This is where I've seen most of the marmots that I've come across. There's an eagle at the top, if you notice right now, right between my hands. It's an eagle. Seeing whale spouts off to the right, otters, yachts. Last year, Cherry Jones's yacht was hanging around off to the right there, owner of the Cowboys. This is just, it's one of my favorite segments to ride anywhere I've ever ridden my bike, including as a kid when I rode all the time in Southern California. I don't know if you noticed the cow on the road. If you didn't, go back about 5 seconds. So this little stretch of road that we're on right now is actually coming up this weekend. It's 19th, 20th is the tour of Juneau. And the prologue, stage 1, is a Merckx style time trial of this 1.6 mile segment of road where you just go really fast, as fast as you can. So this is a good good practice for that. And this course, this entire time trial course, will make another appearance as well during the tour of Juneau. Unfortunately, the weather forecast doesn't look to be as beautiful as today, but we'll still be outside, we'll still be on bikes, we'll still be surrounded by all of this gorgeous nature, so we'll take it. Coming up on the last mile or so. For the ride, I managed somewhere around 265 as my 265 watts as my power, which I felt pretty good about on the donut time trial. At the end of July, I was aiming for around 265 and managed something around 243. I blame the donuts. For this ride, you know, it was a 10-mile ride, but I still paid a lot of attention to what I ate. Had a nice bowl of oatmeal, some peanut butter, bananas. I actually look forward to rides or races, indoors or outdoors, where I really it's funny, on rides and races I care a lot about. I tend to treat myself to oatmeal as my fuel, and it works so well. I should do it every time, but then it wouldn't feel like a treat. But anyways, I looked forward to today, to this race, knowing that I got to have my favorite bowl of oatmeal. Of course, there's some sugar in there as well. And a couple cups of coffee to help energize me. So in front of me is Picnic Cove. So this is the climb up. So this is where I came down doing 40 miles an hour. Now I will go up it, not doing 40, but also right where the road opens up into the parking lot here. There's a little marker on the right is where the Tour of Juneau prologue ends. There's that 1.6 miles from the boat launch, and where the climb begins. This isn't a horrible climb, but it's a climb. I think it starts at 3 or 4% peaks, maybe at 7 or 8%. I completed this in just over 2 minutes on this one, in this ride. In the past, I've been able to get up under 2 minutes. I've ridden this, like I said, many times, so I'm quite familiar with the undulations of this climb. I definitely was practicing my pacing here. You can see I'm not blowing up. My heart rate is still about what it's been for the whole race, in the mid 170s. 170 is about, that's a moderate effort. My max is around 190. So 175, I'm doing all right. I might, you know, have more to give here, but I didn't want to blow my legs up. Although at this point I'm coming in on the last, you know, tenth of a mile. That wouldn't have been a horrible place to blow my legs up if I had to. But here you can see I'm shifting both big gear and small gear into harder gear, so I can do a little bit of a harder effort to cross the finish line. That is in sight. I think I had maybe touched 400 watts. Yeah, there we go. And that was it. Beautiful, beautiful, incredible day. Such a fun race. I ended up placing second overall to Will the Machine, who passed me there almost halfway. Someday, I'll make it past halfway before he passes me. Maybe next year. Until then, thanks for watching.